The midweek podcast for this week is on the book Song of Songs or Song of Solomon. Depending on what version of the Bible you're reading in your own personal study, you will find it either titled Song of Solomon or Song of Songs or something similar to that. I have long been confused by the title of this book, and when I hear people talking about it, kind of a little smirk or a laughing, and it's the love book of the Bible, which talks about love and things like that. When I read this, I don't really see it as a book about love as much as I see it as a book of unrequited love, or dare I say, a desperate person who falls in love for someone who doesn't love them back and then actually chases after them. A phrase the younger generation use, thirsty. When I read and study this book of the Bible, I don't see this great love story that people are talking about. When I look through the Song of Solomon or the Song of Songs, what I see is there is a woman who is in love with a man. Now, we assume that the man is King Solomon. King Solomon had a lot of wives and he had a lot of mistresses. But there's one particular woman. I don't know if she was one of the wives or one of the mistresses or one of the women in his harem. Perhaps he had her once before, but she wanted him and she went looking for him. She pursued him so much that he didn't even have the chance to go looking for her, even if he had an interest in her. One of the lessons to be learned here, if you feel you have to compete for someone's love, you've already lost. And I think that's one of the important things for us to look at here. She would figure out where he was and then lay wait for him, like to trap him. And he's going along, he sees her. She's so readily available to him that he didn't need to pursue her. And she was so thirsty, if you want to use the modern day vernacular, that seems to me like it was a turnoff to him. And so he wasn't really interested because she was throwing herself at him. I don't know if he was this macho man with 1,000 wives and mistresses. It's like there's no conquest. He didn't have to win her love. He didn't have to court her. He didn't have to do anything. She was just there. So it seems to me like he was not interested in her, but she would not give it up. She was so smitten and infatuated with him that she chased after him. When I read the book of Song of Solomon, that's what I see. I see a thirsty woman who's chasing after this man that she wants, and she lays wait for him. It's like she has no respect for herself. She doesn't realize that she is the prize. The whole thing is written like he is the prize, and she has to win him. I kind of feel like she was one of his wives or one of his mistresses, or at least someone that he had one time. With that many wives, and probably many of his wives, he only probably consummated their marriage once, maybe. I mean, when you had that many, I can't imagine it being more than that. But it's like the whole thing doesn't make any sense. It's like he's competing. So it's like in this whole group of mistresses or whole groups of wives. It's kind of like they have to compete to see who's going to get to lie in Solomon's bed that night. Who is he going to pick for that night? And she wanted it to be her. And and to me, the whole book of Song of Solomon is the woman trying to capture the man she wants, catch his eye, make sure that he picks her. That's what I see. Sometimes I get interested in studying the books of the Bible. You know, we have 66 books in the Protestant version of the Bible, and sometimes I get interested in the other books that were considered that did not make it into the Bible. I've got books over here on my shelf that have a collection of those other works that were not selected or canonized into the Bible that we have. And I'm thinking, like, why is the book of Song of Solomon in there? Is there something we're supposed to get out of it? When I was studying it many years ago, I did pick out some passages for the devotional. So let's see, what passages when I was studying this book, did I actually pick for the study? Well, if you're following along in this book, these devotionals are selected for April 11th through the 15th. We think it is a writing of King Solomon. So if Solomon wrote this, then that means he was very aware that this woman was after him. And is it showing a love story, or is he demonstrating this crazy, desperate woman who's chasing after him? So did he write this because it stroked his ego that he was so desired by this one? Well, if he had almost 1,000 lovers, mistresses, and wives, were there not stories of the others? The 999? Is it just the one? You know, when we're reading in this comes from Song of Solomon, chapter 2. Her love for him is far beyond that of other relationships we encounter in the Bible. It is not a love of convenience, nor a love of treaty between families or nations. It is a special love that is difficult to describe. So it's like a head over heels, but it seems like it's almost a one-sided. Then I go ahead and I look into chapter 3. And when we see the poems that are here, and you know, it is a work of poetry, but underneath her words is fear, jealousy, and unsatisfied love. It's like she's telling on herself. Slow it down. Don't be too eager. You must make him want you as much as you want him. So it seems like in the poetry, but if Solomon is writing this, this is like him he's really kind of explaining, you know, she needs to slow it down. So maybe he's wishing that she had these words in her poetry. So this woman claims to be, or well, Solomon's writing it, so it must be. So this woman is a lover of King Solomon. Maybe she's one of his 700 wives or one of his 300 mistresses. You know, whether we call it, this is a stretch for any concept of family, even by those standards back then. As it's almost like as the king is going through the building with all the rooms with all of the women, she just waits there, just holding her breath to see if he comes to her door. Then we get into chapter 6. If you continue to chase after the one you want, the one you love, the one you pursue, you will find them. She was expecting Solomon to come to her, and he did not. So she goes out looking for him. My prayer for that day says, God, teach us to value ourselves that we have something to give. And then in chapter 8, I see where she finally understands. True love is like a fire that burns so hot that tossing water upon it will not put it out. If you tried to buy love, you could not. So no matter how much she yearned for Solomon, and however way she tried to buy her way into his love. And then we get right into our next one will be on Ecclesiastes. I don't really have a lot of deep thoughts to share at looking at the Song of Solomon. I think if you try hard enough, you can find a purpose for something. But yeah, there are lessons to be learned. If you don't value yourself enough to see your own worth, going around chasing after people, trying to trap them or trick them or make them choose you, if you're involved in that sort of competition, you've already lost. The fact that you're so desperate means there's no game to be had there. So that is a lesson to be learned. I don't understand the value of that in the book we call the Bible. There are a couple books in the Bible that I think we don't really need. This is one of those. Of course, the people that look at the Bible as if it was an idol. The Bible is not God. You do not worship the Bible. But there are some people that their anger will rise up against me because I don't find value in the Song of Solomon. So, well, that is the podcast on the Song of Solomon. Don't be desperate. Don't be chasing after someone who's not chasing after you. If they're not chasing after you, don't chase after them. It just looks pathetic and weak. You're not going to get them that way. Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying these podcasts on books of the Bible that come out the middle of every week, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.